Hello, good people, and welcome to the A to Z of social entrepreneurship with myself and Ziggy and Kize. We're almost at the end of wrapping up this series, looking at different elements of what you should think about if you want to start your own social enterprise, if you run a business and you'd like to pivot and introduce a mission focus or an impact focus, or if you already run a nonprofit and you want to pivot and figure out how to introduce a financial model or an alternative business model that can help you be more sustainable. That is what we focus on, not just with this series, but with Her, which is a global mentorship network focused on supporting female social entrepreneurs to create a life and business of impact. So let's get into it. Today we are looking at the letter S, and I think I've spoken about this before in one of the other videos, but I really did want to unpack one of the key elements around this. And S stands for the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, and these were agreed upon by the United Nations in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And it's really just a commitment on from all the countries across 17 different goals to say that this is what we're going to do. And if you run a social enterprise, it's really good to be aligned with the SDGs, because a lot of people that do impact investing care which SDG you're aligned to, but also what we're seeing is a lot of other organizations do want to know that you have some kind of impact, and that really helps if you're looking for funding, if you're looking for grants or donations or anything like that. So a quick rundown of the SDGs. Goal 1 is focused on no poverty, right? And that looks at ending poverty in all its forms everywhere around the world, and really to go think about poverty in your context where you live, in your country. What kinds of different kinds of poverty do you often come across, and how can your business help address those? Goal 2 is end hunger. It's just Goal 2 is zero hunger, and what that looks at is to end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. So when you think about humanity, we all need to eat, right? So any way that you can solve challenges around food waste, food security, making sure people have access to food, making sure people are able to plant food, introducing more women or supporting more women to be involved in agriculture, looking at micro agricultural projects. So many things that you could do. Goal 3 is good health and well-being, and that looks at ensuring healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. And you can think about how you can do that. Goal 4 is quality education, and that is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So I think oftentimes when we think about education, people jump straight to youths across Africa or impoverished countries or impoverished nations or whatever it is, or people jump to women getting access to education, and those are all key aspects of this particular goal. But it's also thinking about, what do you do with elderly people who have knowledge and skills but are now retired? How do they transfer those? Think about in certain countries where you don't have high literacy rates across the entire population, are there other groups that you can focus on that need that support? But then also very key is early childhood development, which is the first 7 years of a child's life, and making sure that children have access to food, have access to good nutrition, because that's when they're growing the most, but also have access to good quality education, not just from a learning perspective, but also things around emotional intelligence and stuff like that, which all have a much bigger impact on the child's life as they grow up. Goal 5 looks at gender equality, and this is one of the goals that we're focused on as Mentor, and this is to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. And our specific focus is to empower women and girls from an economic perspective, and make sure that we are able to support you through mentorship, but also on the journey to starting your own business. Goal 6 is clean water and sanitation, and this looks at ensuring availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. And this is not just an African problem, but it's really around the world. And there's lots of cool projects that I've seen with people creating these kind of purifiers that convert air into water. So there's lots of creative things that you could look at in that space. Goal 7 is affordable and clean energy, and this is ensuring access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. And again, I want to say this is not just an Africa problem. So yes, in Africa and in a lot of developing and emerging nations, a lot of people still are off the grid in the sense that they just simply don't have access to electricity. But in countries where people do have electricity, we need to think about how do we shift people to using more sustainable energy. So how do we make sure everyone's using solar power and renewable energy? And those are endless business opportunities in any region. Goal 8 is another goal that we look at, and that is decent work and economic growth. And that looks at promoting sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. And what we do through our network of female social entrepreneurs is helping them to create their businesses with the hope that they're then able to go into the communities and create jobs and employment opportunities for other people in their communities. Goal 9 looks at industry, innovation, and infrastructure, and that focuses to build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. And then goal 10 is another one that we look at, which is reduced inequalities, and that's to say to reduce inequality within and among countries. And though that's not a direct focus of specific things that we do, but ultimately in the work that we do as mentor, we hope that in a knock-on effect, as you empower more women to create their own businesses, they are able to support more people in their community, and ultimately the overall impact of that would be to reduce inequalities amongst nations. Goal 11 is sustainable cities and communities, and that's a focus on to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Goal 12 is responsible consumption and production. We don't focus on this goal, but personally I believe that everybody should be a responsible consumer, and looking at the fact that we support social enterprises, and there's a few entrepreneurs in our network that focus on this element, and that is to ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. A lot of this is I see with closing the loop within the fashion space, which is very important. Goal 13 is around climate action, and that is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. Goal 14 is life below water, and that looks at to conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. And then goal 15 is life on land, and that looks at protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. So as you can see, goal 13, 14, 15 are all environment focused. So if you're thinking about, the environment, it's not just one element, but there's a lot of different aspects around the environment that you can look at. And then goal 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions. And that looks specifically at promoting peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. And the final goal is 17, which is partnerships for the goals. And this is and literally everyone can be a partner for the goals. We as mentor are a partner for the goals. And this is to strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. So, those are 17 different goals, and you can play your part in 1, you can play your part in 3, and 5, and 10. There are so many intersections that where one goal feeds into another goal, but whatever it is that you're doing in your organization, in your social enterprise, the focus on how you create an impact, a great place to start on figuring out what that impact could be is with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So you don't have to recreate what you're doing, but look at what you're doing and going, which of the goals do we most align with in the work that we do to create impact? And really, you can go onto the United Nations site, so you can just go sdgs.un.org, and you can click in on each of the goals. And when you select the goals, it shows you the different targets of each of the goals, events around the goals, and then the different actions that people are doing around the world. So if you want to partner with all of that, or jump onto something that's already happened, or that's planned to happen, you can do that. And then they also have publications as well, so different spaces, or I suppose different platforms where you can read about information related to those particular goals. And that's it. I think this was a bit of a long video, but I did try to keep it short. So I really do want to encourage you to think about the SDGs, think about how your business, whether it's for profit or non-profit, can align itself with those SDGs, and go out and create an impact in the spaces where you exist, because you can be all the difference that the world needs.